Transparency on reinvestment and home improvements.
The first question I have relates to transparency on the investment and home improvements. And the question reads as, what criteria are used to prioritize properties for improvements and make sure homes are fit for modern living? And how do you ensure that this process is fair, especially for residents who may have health conditions, disabilities, or other long-standing repairs? Daryl, perhaps as the Director of Property Services, maybe you can take this one.
Thank you, Melissa. So as I said at the beginning, my name's Daryl. I'm Director of Property Services, and for me and my team, nothing matters more than our people's safety in their homes. So this means our residents, our colleagues, and also for our communities. So everything that we do, from whether it's how we manage the buildings to the decisions we make, is focused on keeping our homes for yourselves safe, well maintained, and fit for modern living. So we work this through by a clear set of national standards as well as our own standards. And these cover things, for example, gas safety, building safety, the Decent Home Standard, energy efficiency, and also heating systems as well. And we use these standards as well as what we know about the condition of the homes via our stock condition survey and all of the information that we've got to prioritize our investment. And we focus first on the homes that have got the greatest need. So we're always planning ahead for new requirements. So there's a stronger focus on, for example, energy efficiency, tackling damp, mold, and condensation, making sure homes are ready for the future, and including things where we can, such as electric vehicle charging, where it's possible, because I realize it's not possible for every home to have an electric vehicle charger, and also where there's a demand as well. So improving energy efficiency is a key part of this for us. Homes with the lower energy ratings need to be prioritised for upgrades. And over the last 4 or 5 years, we've already improved about 5,000 homes. And we've got a programme over the next 5 years to bring more and more homes up across the country up to the minimum standards and be able to provide you with a much more energy efficient home to live in. So these will include things like insulation, solar panels, more efficient heating systems, and helping to make the homes more comfortable and ultimately cheaper to run as well over time. And that's the key thing for us. But we've always got more to do, and that's where our priority really is over the next year, 3 years, 5 years, and 20 years and beyond, because we know our homes are going to be lived in for a long period of time. But we also have to balance that off against our cost envelope, and it's about providing fairness. So we don't always look at the property, but we also look at who's living in the home. So where customers may have a health condition, maybe a disability, or more complex needs, we'll take that into account when prioritising the works, so that the support is targeted where it can be. We've also got dedicated teams who are focusing solely on building safety. So this is around the higher risk buildings, the high rise buildings, as we know a lot of people live in. And they use that information to understand the risks for our homes, they monitor the safety and act quickly when something isn't right. So for me, it's around balancing our national standards that we have to adhere to, the conditions of our homes, what our customers are telling us, what their needs are, and making sure we're investing in the right places and supporting the people who need it most. Thank you, Melissa.
I think we're over to you now, Darren.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Darren. And I think a lot of that would resonate with the customers that are online here. I mean, for me personally, the move towards more energy efficient homes and the use of EV chargers. I have an EV charging station at my home, but even the likes of looking at solar panels is a really good thing. But as Lizzie said, we've got lots of questions to get through. So my next question is on the same sort of theme. And I think I'll aim this one at Lizzie, if that's okay with you, Lizzie. When customers raise concern about estates feeling neglected or run down, how does Sanctuary ensure that those voices shape priorities for improvement, help restore pride in where people live, and inform longer term investment or redevelopment plans?
Yeah, great question, Darren. Thank you. So I think first of all, if you raise feedback through our customer hub, that all gets recorded. If it's a specific action, we'll program that piece of work in. Let's be honest, sometimes that might take us a bit longer to get to than you might like us to, but the works would get programmed. If the feedback is more general around an overall community or estate, we absolutely need to hear what's working and what isn't, and we need to focus on the estates that you're telling us need some more attention. So we'll look at that. We'll look at your feedback, but we'll look at what we already see when we're out and about locally as well. So we'll look at the repairs across the same area. We might look at any concerns we've got around antisocial behaviour alongside those things, and we'll try and group that together to really understand what we need to do. Now, we know repairs were an area you wanted us to get quicker on, and also to give you better updates. So you've given us that feedback over time. Get the repair done quicker and tell us what you're doing. We are not always the best at telling you what we're doing, but we've definitely improved the speed at which we get to those repairs. So Darryl and his team have worked really hard over the last 12 months and have improved the speed by about 15%. So we're getting to much more repairs much more quickly. So that's great. What we don't do brilliantly is communicate with you in the middle. So we're working on that at the moment. We're also working on when we give a repair to a contractor. So sometimes we don't have the specialist skill set, or maybe we don't have the resource availability to get to the work quickly enough. We'll go to a set of trusted contractors. You've also given us feedback that we need to be better at holding those contractors to account to make sure that they're doing the right thing. So we've created a team that do that, and their focus is really on ensuring they do the right thing. And all of our contractors now are also measured on customer satisfaction. So they're not just measured on whether they've done the piece of work, they're measured on how satisfied the customer is. We also do lots of inspections around in our communities, and we have customers who do those with us. So maybe we go out and we have a little look about what's going on, and there's a score sheet that's used. Any that don't come back as green, whether they're amber or red, will have a set of actions that then get followed up on. So again, really important that we're listening and understanding. We don't tend to do those inspections in isolation. We do use a rather large group of volunteer customers who help us with those to ensure they're holding us to account. We've also started piloting a more place-based approach to reinvestment. So the other thing you've told us is we might come and let's say replace your kitchen 1 year, and maybe 18 months later come and look at the bathroom, and then 18 months later come and look at the roof. And worst case scenario, we might put some solar panels on and then come back and need to look at the roof. So we definitely don't want to do that. So we've started looking at how we can go and do a lot more in an area. And we only did 4 pilots this year, but we saw a really big improvement in satisfaction where we go and do a lot of things at once in an area. We saw satisfaction from pre and post work improve by 22%. So it really does drive customers to be more happy with the work that we're doing. So Darryl and the team are currently working on how we can do more and more of that type of work, because again, we know it works for you. But we definitely need to ensure that we work with you in your community. So the other thing, hopefully some of you will have experienced, are customer focus days, and they give you a chance to speak with our whole team. So we have a variety of teams at these focus days, whether they're the housing teams that work with Catherine, the property teams with Darryl, or third-party agencies, so maybe the police, the fire service and other organisations. We've had lots and lots of those over the last year. So over the last year, we held 2,200 local engagement events with over 14,000 customers taking part. So hopefully some of you who are on this call today have taken part in those events. And I'd just like to say thank you for joining in with us. We definitely see that they help us improve estates and communities more holistically. Now, the other thing I'd say is we know that change isn't always quick. So I've talked about a few areas where we know we need to do better. And we are listening. Sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to then make that improvement. So communication, as an example, we've trialed some different forms of communication. Some have worked, some haven't. And we're now implementing some new systems to really enable us to talk more freely and enable customers to have a choice with how they communicate with us. But some of those things aren't really as quick as we'd like them to be. But we do want everybody to have a home and a community where they feel safe, proud and respected. So do please keep telling us where this isn't the case, and we'll continue to work with our local teams to invest and make a difference. Darren, does that hopefully answer the question?
No, it's a really good and comprehensive answer. Thanks very much, Lizzie. I'll hand over now to Melissa for the next question.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. I love the fact that you are looking in different places for information and you're trying to integrate that to ensure that your processes are more efficient. I hope that as you go along and problems come up, you will be able to solve the problems that do come up.
Hopefully.
Good. Okay.